Sherlock Holmes. The name echoes across decades, a synonym for deduction, for the brilliant mind. The world's only consulting detective, a title he invented. Arrogant, perhaps accurate, undeniably. He stands alone, a legend meticulously crafted. Why this enduring fame? Holmes didn't just solve crimes, he transformed detection. He introduced method, rigor, logic, the science of deduction elevated to an art. Think of him, the deerstalker hat, the curved pipe, mere trappings. The real Holmes is deeper, more complex than these symbols. He is the intellect that cuts through the densest fog. He's a profound character study, a masterclass in observation, a glimpse into a fascinating, flawed genius. More than a caricature, he's a literary creation of enduring power. Let's dissect precisely why Holmes remains a figure of fascination. His methods, his mind, his flaws, each element contributes to his legend. Holmes is not just a detective, he's a symbol of reason in a chaotic world. His appeal is timeless, his influence unmatched. He is the blueprint, the original, the enduring enigma. Let's begin our investigation. The game is afoot. Imagine Holmes's mind as a vast, perfectly organized attic, stocked with facts, details, and seemingly useless trivia. But within that order, everything connects. Observation is key, seeing, not just looking. Most people look but rarely see. Holmes notices the fleck of mud on your boots, the calluses on your hand, the state of your collar. These are not guesses, they're deductions. Each detail is a letter. Together they spell your story. He reads people as others read headlines, effortlessly. This acuity isn't entirely innate, it's cultivated, honed by relentless practice. Holmes rejects unnecessary clutter, especially emotions and sentiment. He strives for pure reason, cold logic. This detachment allows for clarity and unbiased analysis. The world is messy enough without personal feelings clouding judgment, but such a mind is a burden. The constant analysis, the boredom with the mundane. Holmes needs problems, puzzles to unravel. Without a case, his mind stagnates, a dangerous state. Hence the occasional unconventional diversions. His relentless need for stimulation is both his gift and his curse. This is the engine that drives Sherlock Holmes. Genius has its price. Holmes's mind is ordered, but his surroundings are chaos. The violin isn't just a pastime, it's a tool for concentration. Music and mathematics, two sides of the same logical coin. Then the darker habits, cocaine. A product of his era, but undeniably a flaw. Holmes wasn't a conventional hero. His arrogance and disregard for social norms set him apart. He could be manipulative, secretive, emotionally distant. But these flaws make him human, relatable. Holmes's complexity is what makes him endlessly interesting. His flaws don't diminish him, they define him. The contrast between brilliance and imperfection is the heart of his character. His genius is inseparable from his eccentricities. He's a study in human complexity. His habits and flaws are as legendary as his intellect. They make Sherlock Holmes unforgettable. Dr. John Watson, the steadfast companion, the reliable chronicler, often underestimated, but that's a mistake. Watson was a medical man, an army doctor, courageous and loyal. Holmes respected him, though rarely said so. Watson was the essential counterweight to Holmes's eccentric genius. He provided warmth, common sense, and humanity. While Holmes navigated criminal minds, Watson kept him grounded. He was the audience surrogate, asking the questions we would ask. His astonishment mirrored our own, making the extraordinary accessible. Without Watson, Holmes might have remained an isolated intellect. As biographer, Watson brought Holmes to the world. His narratives captured the thrill of the chase and the brilliance of the solutions. Holmes feigned indifference, but he read and critiqued Watson's accounts. Their relationship was a study in contrast, analytical detective and empathetic doctor. They argued, disagreed, but their bond was undeniable. A deep, unspoken loyalty defined their partnership. Each was indispensable to the other. Together, they formed a symbiotic relationship. Holmes and Watson, two halves of a legendary whole, the perfect partnership. Beyond Baker Street, a network shaped Holmes's world. Mrs. Hudson, more than a landlady, she endured his eccentricities and provided stability. Inspector Lestrade, often a foil, but not a fool. determined and eventually respectful of Holmes's methods. He represented the official arm of the law, a necessary contrast to Holmes's unconventional genius. Mycroft Holmes, Sherlock's brother, even more brilliant but lacking energy for fieldwork. Mycroft was the British government in many ways, content as an armchair detective. And then Professor Moriarty, the Napoleon of crime. Holmes's intellectual equal, his dark reflection. Moriarty orchestrated a vast criminal empire, challenging Holmes in a battle of wits. He was the ultimate antagonist, the necessary evil to define the good. Every great detective needs a worthy adversary. Moriarty was Holmes's. These allies and antagonists enriched Holmes's world. Each played a role in shaping his legend. The supporting cast made the stories richer, the stakes higher. Holmes was never truly alone. His world was filled with memorable characters. They tested him, grounded him, and sometimes even saved him. The interplay between Holmes and those around him is essential to his story. Allies, rivals, and enemies, they all contributed to the myth. Holmes's world is a tapestry of personalities. Each thread adds depth to the legend. Without them, Holmes would be incomplete. Together, they created a universe. Many popular ideas about Holmes are inaccurate. Elementary, my dear Watson, he never said it in the original stories. The phrase was popularized by later adaptations. The deerstalker cap? An illustrator's invention, not Holmes's standard attire. These myths became part of his image, fiction shaping fiction. Holmes retired not in London but to the Sussex Downs as a beekeeper. He wrote a handbook on bee culture, revealing a desire for peace and nature. Holmes's humanity is often overlooked. His acts of kindness, moments of melancholy and complex moral code. He wasn't always cold and calculating. He could show mercy and understand human frailty. The original texts reveal a richer, more contradictory character. Holmes's story is more than the myths. It's about nuance and depth. The real Holmes is found in the details, not the clichés. His contradictions make him fascinating. The truth is always more interesting than the legend. Holmes's legacy is built on complexity, not simplicity. That's what makes him worth exploring. Holmes's allure isn't just adventure, it's intellectual rigor. His methods, systematic and logical, seem miraculous to Watson. It's not magic, it's deduction, and sometimes reasoning backwards. He gathers data, constructs hypotheses, and eliminates the impossible. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. This principle is the cornerstone of his approach. Holmes appeals to our desire for order in a chaotic world. Adult readers relish the puzzle solving, the thrill of following his thought process. He pioneered forensic details, footprints, ash, handwriting analysis. Holmes was a scientific investigator ahead of his time. His focus on evidence resonates with modern analytical minds. Reading Holmes sharpens our own observation and critical thinking. He teaches us to look closer, to question assumptions. Holmes's legacy is not just in stories, but in the way he taught us to think. That's the true power of Sherlock Holmes. Why does Holmes still fascinate us in the age of high-tech forensics? Because the world remains chaotic. Holmes offers order and answers. He navigates human complexity and brings light to darkness. There's satisfaction in seeing puzzles solved by a superior mind. Holmes fights for justice, often outside official channels. His anti-authoritarian streak appeals to us, intellect over bureaucracy. His moral compass is complex, pointing toward truth, not just law. His flaws, arrogance, impatience, addiction make him relatable. Even genius struggles, we see ourselves in his imperfections. Holmes feels real despite his extraordinary abilities. Victorian London adds atmosphere, a world both familiar and mysterious. The setting is an escape, but the themes are timeless. Greed, revenge, deception. Human nature hasn't changed. Holmes's pursuit of truth is always relevant. His stories are a journey to another time, but the lessons endure. Holmes's appeal is, and always will be, timeless. Sherlock Holmes's influence is everywhere. He established the archetype, the brilliant detective, the loyal companion, the intricate plot. Countless creators have borrowed from Conan Doyle's blueprint, but the original remains the gold standard. Holmes became a cultural icon, a symbol of intelligence and reason. People wrote to him at Baker Street seeking help. The address is world famous. Societies study his cases, his methods, his life. The Great Game. This devotion is rare for a fictional character. Holmes taught us to observe, to question, to think. He showed the power of the mind to bring order to chaos. In a complex world, these lessons are invaluable. Holmes reminds us that even baffling mysteries can be solved, with logic, patience, and detail. That's a message of hope. Sherlock Holmes, the name endures, the legend grows. The game is still afoot and we're still playing along. His legacy is truly unmatched.